What's up, everybody? So finally, I got my hands on the lawsuit that Sabrina Peterson filed against T.I. and Tiny. I'm just going to go ahead and try to run you guys through this video. And basically, we're going to cut out as much fat in this lawsuit as possible. It looks like there's several attorneys involved. I'm not going to read them all. One is in all caps, and it's in boldface. That's going to be Ivy McNeil, Wyatt, Purcell, and Diggs, a professional law corporation, and attorneys for Sabrina Peterson. It looks like she has an army of attorneys, right? Because I'm seeing one, two, three attorneys on her side, right? So these are all attorneys for her, right? So basically, it's going to be Sabrina Peterson against Clifford Harris, T.I., Tamika Harris, aka Tiny, and Shakina Jones, or Shakina Jones Anderson. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know that I have one video, the very first video in the series, It's Over for T.I. and Tiny. And I think Shakina comes out and she basically makes a statement about, the allegations against T.I. and Tiny by Sabrina Peterson, right? So just a really high level view of this lawsuit. It looks like there is going to be, it looks like she's suing for defamation, libel per se, defamation, trade libel, invasion of privacy, false light, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. This is a new one to me. I've never seen this one. Negligent influence, interference with prospective economic advantage. Again, new to me. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and she's asking for a jury trial. Right off the bat, I think the jury trial is going to be pretty interesting. I'm not sure why she would ask for a jury trial. Typically, in my personal opinion, you would ask for a jury trial if you want to appeal to the human nature, for people who are going to hear your case. If you go to the judge may just go by the rule book. And if it's a weak case, I'm not saying this is a weak case because we haven't really read it, but if it's a weak case, then a judge would probably throw it out or rule against you. So I'm thinking that asking for a jury trial gives her the opportunity to bring the drama in a courtroom, whereas asking for a jury trial, having a judge hear the case, you may not get a chance to play up that drama. That's my opinion. You guys let me know what you think. Why did she ask for a jury trial versus just letting the judge hear it? Another funny thing to note here is that this lawsuit is actually filed in Los Angeles. And I personally thought T.I. and Tiny and Sabrina Peterson actually lived in Atlanta. Obviously, I'm probably wrong. If you guys know where these people are physically located, not that we want to stalk them, but just for the purposes of having a conversation about this lawsuit, leave your questions and comments below. Let me know where you think these people are located. It's going to make a huge difference once we get further into this case, right? So parties, we're going to skip the party section. A lot of unnecessary reading for this video. Everyone knows who they are. Jurisdiction, and this is why I say where they live is going to be important. Just so you know, jurisdiction gives the court the ability to hear a case. If the court has subject matter jurisdiction, then they can hear a case, because that's basically saying this is the court that hears these type of cases. And then there's also personal jurisdiction. And personal jurisdiction is essentially saying that I don't live in this area, and because I don't live in this area, I'm not subject to be sued in this court, right? So you don't have personal jurisdiction over me because I don't live in that area. So then T.I. and Tiny can actually file a motion to dismiss the case, right? So now what I'm surprised she just didn't do is just file a lawsuit under diversity jurisdiction. And when you file a lawsuit under diversity jurisdiction, it really doesn't matter where the individuals live. You're going to federal court. You're saying, I live in the state of California. The defendants live in Atlanta. I'm going to sue in California under diversity jurisdiction. To me, that made more sense. I'm not sure why she's trying to. I guess we're going to get into reading it, but to me, this just doesn't make sense. I suspect that T.I. and Tiny can have this lawsuit just dismissed without even going through all this, They can just have it dismissed because they filed it in the wrong place. They filed it in Los Angeles, California. And again, I believe T.I. and Tiny lives in Atlanta, right? So it goes on. T.I. and Tiny Anderson, collectively defendants, purposely availed or directed themselves to California's jurisdiction by minimal contacts with the state through several posts on Instagram by inviting and creating an active integration around it by World Wide Web and California users and followers, including potential claims from California that would hire plaintiff Peterson for consulting services through Glam University, purchasing her products through Pretty High, but are seeing the statements, commenting on them, and interacting with them. Defendants post on Instagram expressively aim for dissemination in California and nationwide, right? So personally, you guys let me know what you think. Comments below. I don't think this lawsuit is going to fly. Honestly, we don't even need to go through the rest of it, but we're going to do it for entertainment purposes only. Because if you try to sue me in Idaho and I live in Illinois, right away I can file a motion to dismiss. I don't live in Idaho. I don't know why in the hell you're trying to sue me in Idaho. I have no business with any individuals in Idaho. In this case, T.I. and Tiny, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, questions, comments below. T.I. and Tiny lives in Atlanta. I thought Sabrina Peterson actually lived in Atlanta, but it looks like they're saying from this lawsuit she lives in California. They can just have this dismissed because it was filed improperly. Now, that's only going to be a temporary relief because she can always come back and file it under diversity jurisdiction. She can say, I live in California. They live in Atlanta, and they made comments that basically hurt me and my business. That's essentially what they're saying here. And she might stand a better chance, but the other thing is, I think she's referring to the video that T.I. did where he came out and he specifically talked about this thing and he knew this type of thing was coming and he chose his words carefully. He said, people are trying to get me to come out and deny their claims so they can sue me for defamation of character. And it's funny because this is exactly what she's doing. So they can sue me for defamation of character and then they can get you in court and they can get you on the record and they can get you to pay their legal bills. Those were his exact words. Go back and watch the video series. It's definitely over for T.I. and Tiny. So he knew this card was coming. So either he figured it out himself or he sat down and talked to his lawyer, but he knew this card was going to be played. Why didn't he just remain silent? Why say anything? Just be silent because you know they're going to play this card, and here it is. It's played, right? So anyway, let's get into the facts to the case. Facts common to all causes of action. Plaintiff Peterson knew T.I. and Tiny for over a decade. Plaintiff Peterson got into an altercation with T.I.'s assistant, Hannah Kane. Shortly after that, T.I. appeared and placed a gun to the plaintiff Peterson's head and says, "Witch, I'll kill you." And I'm saying witch, but you can see the word there. Everybody knows YouTube is very strict. They'll take your video down and they'll take down your platform if they think you're inappropriate. I'm just going to try to be clean, so I'm going to try to substitute a lot of these words. T.I.'s action was extremely traumatizing to plaintiff Peterson. She no longer communicated with him, but she maintained her friendship with Tiny, who was not present at the time of the attack on January 26, 2021, in response to the carjacking that happened to her in Atlanta, Georgia. Plaintiff Peterson shared her traumatic experience with T.I. to a group of her followers, right? So the other thing is, I'm going to try to be as neutral as possible with these videos going forward because I've had a lot of women come out and they complain that I am attacking the alleged victims. They come out and they complain and they say that I'm treating women in a way that's unfair, right? So I think I'm going to, from here on out, I'm going to try to find a way to offer an opposing view, and I'm also going to offer a view that basically supports the allegations, right? So I'm going to try a balanced approach, right? So here, personally, just one thing I noticed, she doesn't give any details about the altercation with T.I.'s assistant, right? She doesn't give any details about that. And because she doesn't give any details, that leads me to believe that you don't want the details to come out, right? What was this altercation about, right? Why were you into it with Hannah Kang? Does anyone out there know why she was fighting with, or why she had an altercation with Hannah Kang? If you do, comments below. But because you're leaving that detail out, to me, it's saying that you're hiding something. If there was a situation where you threatened Hannah Kang and T.I. comes out to her rescue and basically pulls a gun, it could be justified. Did you pull out a razor and try to slice Hannah Kang? Right? Because apparently there's allegations out there that she's a slashing queen. Right? Well, actually, I'm embellishing a little bit, but there's allegations out there that she went to jail and that she likes to get into fights and things of that nature. Those allegations are out there. Go ahead and Google it. But it matters why you were fighting with Hannah Kang, because if you were threatening Hannah Kang's life, if you were about to harm Hannah Kang, then T.I. coming out in the heat of the moment and trying to protect her, that would basically absolve him, in my opinion. You guys let me know. That would absolve him of allegedly pulling the gun on you. Now, to support Peterson, I would say if she just had a simple altercation and T.I. just came out of nowhere, like they were just having an argument, and that's all it was an argument, and T.I. comes out and he, tries to flex, and he tries to, basically pull rank and, say, get off my property or something like that, I'll kill you, whatever. Yeah, that's going to open him up for this lawsuit. That's going to justify this lawsuit because contrary to what everyone probably believes, you just can't pull a gun on somebody. They could always sue you for emotional distress. They could always sue you for negligent emotional distress, so on and so forth. Anyway, let's move on because I don't want to hold up this video on this section. Tiny posts a photo of the plaintiff, Peterson's son. On January 26, 2021, Tiny went on Instagram where she has 6.6 million followers to post a defamatory false claim statement about plaintiff Peterson. In this post, she used a photo of Peterson's son, her 8-year-old son, and this deliberate and negligent act exposed the plaintiff's Peterson's 8-year-old son to a vitriol and danger by Tiny's 6.6 million followers. Now, the post said the following: hold up. So you want your abuser to train your sons? He was just uncle 2 years ago. Now, now when did you say my husband assaulted you? Do you change your mind or change it back? What's up with it? What's up with it? I'm sorry. What's up with it? What's up with it? You today, Pooh? I can't even read this shit. What's up with it with you today, Pooh? I'm confused. Stop harassing my family. You strange. Everybody know you've been special. Face slicing seminar lady. Please get help, but leave us alone. So honestly, man, it's hard to offer it's hard to be balanced with some of this stuff because honestly, in my opinion, I don't know that there's anything wrong with that. I think you shouldn't talk about children on social media. You should never put people's children out there on social media. So, but on the same token, she didn't say anything negative about. She didn't say anything negative. I think this is probably going to go towards the invasion of privacy. She could argue that I don't want people to know my personal life. I don't want people to have images of my children. I don't want people to know who my children are. I don't want my children to be the subject of conversation out on the internet. She could make that claim. Now, the problem with trying to make that claim, though, is that I have actually personally gone to Sabrina Peterson's Instagram account, and I have seen multiple pictures of her son. So it's going to be hard to claim invasion of privacy. You could claim it if you didn't post images of your son on the internet, right? But once you put stuff out there on the internet, you can't claim invasion of privacy. And that's the problem with today's society. We post everything, we put all our information out there. So when people start talking about us and people start getting into our business, and even when people start saying defamatory things about us, we take some of our options off the table because we put our personal lives out there. So my opinion, I think that she may have a small chance to claim invasion of privacy because I mean, just think about it. You don't know who the non-lawyer is. You don't see the non-lawyer's kids on my page. You don't see the non-lawyer's girlfriends out there, so if you found out that I had kids, or if you found out that I had, who my girlfriend was, and you put that information out there, bam, I can hit you for invasion of privacy. That's my own personal life. I'm not a public person. And, I just have this avatar that's out there. And that's all that I chose to put out there. So if you start posting if you start posting my personal information publicly, I have a right to sue you for invasion of privacy. And then if you start saying negative things, then I can add on things like emotional distress or false light. And here I see a small chance for invasion of privacy. It depends on how they pitch it as it regards to her son. But I don't see anything negative said about her son in this thing. Anderson posted a dream. Anderson posted a defamatory video concerning plaintiff Peterson, right? And it goes on. On about January 29th, 2021, Anderson went to Instagram where she has 3.5 million followers. I'm sorry. On about January 29th, 2021, Anderson went to Instagram where she has 3.5 million followers to post a defamatory false video about plaintiff Peterson. In this post, she claimed that the plaintiff Peterson was engaged in sexual acts with T.I. and Tiny. The following is a transcript of the post. And I think I kind of want to skip this, but I'll just go ahead and read it because it's actually in the first video I've done. It's definitely over for T.I. and Tiny.
If Tiny would pay that attention, she wouldn't be even into it right now with T.I. She's looking fucking attention. She wants Tiny. She obsessed with Tiny. Like, she wants Tiny to be her girlfriend. Now, listen, this is my thing. If it came out, the Tip pulled a gun on her, right? How do we change from Tip not the victim no more? Tip is the victim, and Tiny now is the legend. How do we go from that? So she done got mad at Tamika for taking her husband. Here go the whole goddamn thing. She has a problem. She ain't talked about nothing about how she Tamika and Tip. I said what I said. Why she ain't talking about how she done sucked? So why we ain't talking about that? Let's get into it. Yeah, y'all want to talk about? Let's get into it. I'm trying to figure out why she ain't told y'all how much she done. Why she ain't told y'all about she one of the women who used to go recruit the. What's up? Hey, hey. Now they go to.
So anyway, moving on. T.I. and Tiny. So to me, I think Sabrina Peterson may have a claim here because the thing of it is, even if this stuff is true, it doesn't give Shakina the right to come out and talk about it on the internet. So basically, this is going to be, in my opinion, a solid claim for invasion of privacy. You guys let me know. Questions and comments below. Because if you did have threesomes with T.I. and Tiny, that's your business, and no one has the right to come out and basically tell the world about your sexual relations. Even if they found out, even if they know, they don't have the right to get on the internet and just blast your personal business out there. And I know we do a lot of this type of thing on the internet because we think it's fun and it's cute, but when you get hit with a lawsuit like this, and they're going to try to take everything that you work hard for, you'll begin to see, why you shouldn't do stuff like that, right? This may also be a solid claim for false light because basically you're trying to put this information out there to defame her. So I think this could be a solid claim. You guys let me know, questions and comments below, right? Then it goes on. T.I. and Tiny released public statements about plaintiff Peterson. On about January 29th, 2021, T.I. and Tiny published a statement denying plaintiff Peterson's claim that T.I. put a gun to her head and threatened to kill her. The statement said the following: Mr. and Mrs. Harris want to be on record, and more importantly, want the public to know they emphatically deny in the strongest possible way the egregious, appalling allegations made against them by Sabrina Peterson. Now, this to me is just kind of weak, in my personal opinion. You guys let me know what you think. My personal opinion, this is kind of a weak claim because I have a right to deny allegations against me. But what people do is that once you come out, they wait for you to slip up and say something that they can use to essentially, file a lawsuit like this, defamation of character, to say that you're lying and you're basically trying to defame their character because you're basically calling them a liar, right? So this one is tricky. I think is just a bunch of BS though. But you guys let me know what you think. Questions and comments below. Then it goes. T.I. posted an 8-minute video about Sabrina Peterson. On about January 29, 2021, T.I. went to Instagram where he has 13.5 million followers to post a defamatory false statement about the plaintiff Peterson. He also denied plaintiff Peterson's claim that he has drugged and assaulted women throughout the years. The following is a transcript of the post.
Hey, so as y'all could probably guess or imagine, it's been extremely difficult for me to remain quiet in light of all the things that have transpired and all of the egregious allegations that's been tossed around about me and my wife. But it's a reason for that, and I don't mind sharing it. You see, if a person does not have any right to criminally or civilly have you in court, they have no right. The best thing they could do is get you for a defamation suit, drag you in court, make you pay their legal bills, but get you in court. Now, I mean, at this point, man, it's at the point where that don't even matter to me no more, okay? But that's the motive, that's the strategy, that's the intention. Say a whole bunch of false stuff about you that get people to believe and make them come out and say, they're a liar, they're a liar, they're a liar. And then they can say, see, they call me a liar. That's defamation. Then they drag you in court, get you under oath and all that. Because unfortunately right now, it doesn't matter as much what they can prove you did. It matters what you can prove you didn't. You know what I mean? And that's just an unfortunate place that our society has made it to. But I want to be clear about one thing. Women who have been victimized deserve to be heard. Women, black women in particular, should be supported, protected, defended, and uplifted. However, evil has no gender. People with evil intentions have no gender. A threat comes in all shapes and sizes. I would never treat a woman the same way I would treat a threat. All right? So I think that has to be distinguished. First and foremost, I want to say my wife is a beautiful person with an amazing spirit and a kind heart. She's a devoted mother, and she has a humble soul. She don't deserve it. She don't deserve it. Now, what we're not going to do is open up the door to my bedroom, as you shouldn't have to either. Open up the door to my bedroom for everybody to come in and chime in and make their opinions about what we do and don't do or should or shouldn't do. But I will say this. Whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults who into what we into and like what we like. If we want something, we know exactly where to go to get it. We ain't never forced nobody. We ain't never drugged nobody against their will. We ain't never held nobody against their will. We ain't never made nobody do anything. We ain't never trafficked anything. Well, sexually trafficked anything. I ain't never raped nobody. Never raped nobody. Also, I'm gonna tell you what's factual. I'll tell you what's factual. There have been fake stories put up that blog sites anonymously sent to this person. Blog sites anonymously sent fake stories to this person, and the person posted it as though it was a victim, that they were sure that it was a victim and it has been victimized. And what this does is it dismantles the mechanism that women have created for themselves. You can't weaponize something with baseless claims. These are not stories of actual events. They're not. And I have proof of that. And that's why I said it. I have proof of that. I have proof of people who have gone on live with this person and they later said, man, I just wanted some clout. That's why I can't believe they actually posted that shit. I just wanted some clout. So this is what we're dealing with, man. This is what we're dealing with. And also, I pose you a question. How you gonna be a victim and an attacker at the same time? How are you being victimized if you are violently attacking someone? Women who have been victimized deserve to be heard. They deserve to feel comfortable and confident. They deserve to feel supported. And that's supposed to get them to a place where they can show their face and say, this is what happened to me. This is who did it. And so the necessary steps can follow. This is not that. This is not that. I also want you to know it's evil at play. I'm talking about evil. I'm talking like, evil. And there's been a history. We've had a history in dealing with the particular individual in question. We've had a history of it, man. Had a history of it. And there is a record of pattern behavior like this. A history of harassment. Not, I'm talking about, listen, this is not my opinion. I'm just saying what's on record. A history of violence on record. And we can't just, weaponize social media to take down people who have families and who communities depend on. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about who have done everything that they can to uplift and help to evolve our communities. We can't tear our people down like that. And this has taught me a lot. But one thing I know, man, I will not be bullied. I am not afraid. I am not ashamed. And and the truth will be revealed, man. But until then, man, hey, listen, man, any woman out there who's going through things, who have gone through things, if you have a story, and you should come forward. You should, but don't lie, cause that tear the whole vehicle down. Don't lie. Don't lie. The truth is what needs to be heard. The truth. And I can deal with the truth all day. But at some point, man, it has to be some sort of, it got to be something that happens if you come and make baseless claims that are false about somebody that have a negative impact on them, their livelihood, or their freedom. Something got to be done about that. But I was built for this. I was born to be in this position. I was born to be in this position, to face pressure and sit in the fire so it benefits others in the future. I was born to be in this position. God put me here for this. So whatever evil has been conjured up to come against me, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. But man, I got a lot of love For everybody who been calling me and who been in support of me and my wife, um, shit, man, we'll be back to doing us, man, sooner than later. You dig what I'm saying? Love and respect.
And again, he knew this play was coming. So I would ask why he just didn't be quiet, right? So to me, again, this is going to be weak as well. I don't see how you have a claim. That man has freedom of speech. He has a right to come out and deny allegations, and it's not really defamation of character. Um, so to me, it just seems like freedom of speech. You guys, let me know what you think. It's hard, and again, it's hard to offer a balanced approach. I would say anything. She could probably allege that he's calling her evil, and she can make an argument that she's not an evil person, and that would probably give her a chance at a defamation of character claim, right? Let me know what you think about this portion. Questions and comments below. Do you think it's weak? Do you think it's going to fly? Let me know what you think. As a result of T.I. and Tiny and Anderson's defamatory statements, plaintiff Peterson has been constantly harassed, right? From January 29th, 2021 to present day, plaintiff Peterson has been inundated with harassing and threatening Instagram messages from T.I. and Tiny Anderson's followers. The followings are samples of some of the harassing messages. And basically, you lying witch, you a fat, miserable, lying, SOB, bad body build, even after surgery, jealous lady, you little mommy running low, you scam, I forgot, all the way from the choke on some of these nuts, right? uh, and, I don't mean to laugh. Again, my channel is about law. Of course, there's going to be drama behind it. There's going to be entertainment behind it. Uh, I don't mean to attack the alleged victims. And if you are a Sabrina Peterson supporter, you're welcome here. I don't mean to attack Sabrina Peterson. I think some of these claims are a little bit off. And I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this claim in a second. But again, I don't mean to attack the alleged victims, right? So then it goes on and it goes, you are pathetic and poor example of women's rights. There are real victims out there and you're making them never want to speak out. You can't engage in something and cry out wolf. It's women like you that disgust me. You're no victim. You are someone trying to come up. And then another comment, you are a sick liar. And then another comment, exactly why he put the heater to your head. You should have been pulled. He should have pulled the trigger. And if you're going to carry on like this. And then another comment, the black feminist witch is lying on Tiny T.I. I'm not speaking from a fan perspective, but a man who's tired of a black man. I'm sorry, a black witch who enjoy destroying black men. I hope some man or woman beats the crap out of you, of this funky skunk single mother Sabrina, right? So the problem with this is that he's not a Ti supporter, and he tells you he's not speaking on Ti. Well, hold on a second. Feminist is lying on Ti and Tiny. I'm not speaking from a fan perspective. Yeah, so he tells you he's not speaking from Ti and Tiny. He's just giving his own opinion. So I think it was a mistake for her to actually use this comment. So let me tell you what I think is wrong with this claim. The problem with this claim is that when you put yourself out there on social media and you decide you want to be the spokesperson for all the victims of a person, then you offer the world to criticize you or support you, right? So you can't cry wolf, as this comment is saying. You can't cry wolf when you put yourself out there, because there was other ways that you could have handled this. One way you could have handled it is that you could have went anonymous, right? You could have, if you really wanted to spearhead what you believe are true allegations against Ti and Tiny, You could have shielded yourself by basically creating a avatar or a facade account. I'm not gonna say fake account. I'll just say a facade account, right? And you can use that platform to basically, bring the alleged victims forward. That's one way it could have been done. However, you chose to put your personal image behind the support of people who allegedly have been victimized by T.I. and Tiny, right? And I'm not saying that those victims aren't real. I'm not saying that the assault didn't happen. What I am saying is that you decided to put your public life out there. And when you decide to put your public life out there, when you decide to put yourself out in public like that, then you invite people to come and offer their criticism and support. So I don't know what she's going to claim here, but invasion of privacy is not going to work with this claim. And false light is not going to work with this claim. Harassment is not going to work with this claim because these are people who are coming out and they're using the internet to express their own opinion. And these people are protected under freedom of speech. And if you didn't want this type of criticism, then you don't put yourself out there like that. And this is one of the reasons when I blog about stuff, I blog as a non-lawyer. And the reason I blog as a non-lawyer, because I don't want it to be personal. And anything that I talk about on these videos is based on the content. It's not based off of me, the non-lawyer's personal life. But when you put your personal life out there, you give up privacy. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You guys let me know if you feel different. And again, so Sabrina Peterson supporters welcome. I'm just giving a fair, balanced opinion. If you think I'm attacking Sabrina Peterson, definitely leave your comments below because I'm not attacking her. I'm just giving my critique. And I just think that if she wanted to support the alleged victims, she could have done it in other ways than basically putting herself as the spokesperson for these victims, allegedly, right? Because the story behind all this is that when you go to her page, you'll see that she has several posts or she had, I don't know if they're still there. I saw them, several posts of alleged victims. And there's also YouTube videos where she'll call victims and she'll interview the victims on live. Well, if she really wanted to do that and not make herself a public figure in all this, she could have hired someone and let that person do it, right? She could have hired a lawyer to, have these conversations, or she could have just simply used a facade account or a proxy account, if you will, in lack of a better word. But I think this is not going to fly. This claim is just not going to go anywhere. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so now we get into the actual cause of actions. These are the facts of the case that we've just gone through. They're not actually the cause of actions, right? So first cause of action, defamation, libel per se against all defendants. Plaintiff realleges and incorporates by reference as through set forth fully at this point. Oh, excuse me. Each and every allegation contained in paragraphs 1 through 23 above, as alleged in general allegations herein, T.I. and Tiny and Anderson posted certain statements on public internet site Instagram to more than 23.6 million followers. Such statements were published to those other than the plaintiffs Peterson and anyone in the public at large using the internet was and still is able to discover them, listen to them, and read them. Such statements can reasonably be understood to be of and concerning plaintiff Peterson. And in fact, they specifically identify plaintiff Peterson by her name, her son's photograph, and personal Instagram page, and thus leave no doubt that the statements were about plaintiff Peterson and no one else. Such statements tend to harm reputation and image of the plaintiff. Peterson on their face, they are liable per se. and that they impute salacious salacious behavior, dishonesty, and criminal conduct, and made allegations injurious to the plaintiff Peterson's trade, business, profession. Such statements tend to lower plaintiff Peterson's and her eyes and her peers' esteem, cause her to be shunned by clients, and expose her to be hated, ridiculed, and contempt. Such statements were demonstrably false in that they are incorrect factual statements such as "you strange," "everybody knows you special," "she ain't talk about how she had relations with Tamika too," and "why she ain't talk about how she done licked T.I.'s stick and had relations," and in her referring to Tiny's private parts, that are capable of being conclusively established with evidence to be either true or untrue. Now, this is a trap. This is a trap because basically I've heard the allegations from basically Shakina, basically saying that she was having threesomes with T.I. and Tiny and other people. It's a trap because if she actually did, right? I don't know if she did. I'm just reading what's there and just repeating what I've heard. If she actually did though, that then it's a trap because T.I. and Tiny would have to come out and talk about those situations where they had, these wild parties. And if she comes out and if they come out and start talking about these wild parties, what's going to get included in that conversation is potentially other alleged victims. And this is why this is, I'll give Sabrina Peterson one thing, and I actually want to wait until I'm done. I'll wait. I'll wait until I'm done, but I'm just going to say that this is a trap. And I will say that this lawsuit is going to be effective, if not, but for one reason. But let me just try kind of get through this, and I'll give my commentary at the end. Such statements were demonstrably false, and that they are put forth with no facts or evidence to prove their validity. These demonstrably false assertions conveyed false meanings to the readers and listeners by implying meanings that are untrue. Such statements were not privileged and not opinions. When they published them, T.I. and Tiny and Anderson knew the statements were false or had reckless disregard for the falsity and therefore acted with actual malice. T.I. and Tiny Anderson publication of such false and defamatory statements did, in fact, directly and proximately result in harm to plaintiff Peterson's business, trade, profession, and occupation, shame, mortification, and hurt feelings, resulting in severe emotional distress and other harm to the plaintiff Peterson's reputation, in addition to those implied and assumed by law. One, on multiple separate occasions, plaintiff Peterson's made retractions demand upon T.I. and Tiny and Anderson, but T.I. and Tiny and Anderson refused to comply substantially. Plaintiff Peterson has been generally, specially, and consequentially damaged in an amount to be established according to the evidence. The aforementioned libel per se was committed willfully, intentionally, and by means of oppression, fraud, malice, and in conscious disregard for the plaintiff's rights. Therefore, plaintiff Peterson is entitled to an award of exemplary or punitive damages in an amount to be established at trial to meaningfully punish T.I. and Tiny and Anderson, and thereby deter similar conduct in the future. And then the second cause of action, trade libel against all defendants. Plaintiff realleges and incorporates by reference as through set forth fully. This point, each and every allegation contained in paragraphs 1 through 36. Plaintiff Peterson ethics, integrity, and competence are her stock in trade that reflects upon the quality of her services in the business and professions. As such, they are legally protected interests that are subject to libel and trade. As alleged in general allegations here and above, T.I. and Tiny Anderson posted certain statements on public internet site Instagram to their more than 23.6 million followers. Such statements were demonstrably false in that they are incorrect factual statements such as "you strange," "everybody know you special." She ain't talked about how she, had relations with Tamika too, and why she ain't talk about how she done licked his stick and basically had relations with tiny private parts that are capable of being conclusively established with evidence to be either true or untrue. Huh? That are capable of being conclusively established with evidence to be true or untrue. Well, which one is it? Are you saying that you slept with, are you saying that you did these things and you had threesomes with T.I. and you licked his stick and you know Tiny's private parts? Are you saying that's true or untrue? Which one is it? This is suspect to me. This is very suspect to me. Questions and comments below. What do you guys think? Do you think the allegations that she basically had relations with T.I. and Tiny is true or it's not true? This is suspect to me because of the way you worded it. Established with evidence to be either true or untrue. I just don't get that. Are you either you're going to deny it or you're going to admit to it? You can't do both. Such statements were demonstrably false in that they put forth with no facts or evidence to prove their validity. These demonstrably false assertions convey false meanings to the readers and listeners by implying meanings that are untrue. Yeah, so I'm not buying this because you're talking about the meanings of the statements, whether or not instead of talking about whether or not you actually, what I want to know is did you sleep with Tiny and did you sleep with Ti? Just come out and either say it's true or deny it, right? That's my own personal opinion. But to me, you're just trying to play word games. Because the reason I say this is that, you could have slept with T.I. and Tiny, but what this statement could possibly be saying is that you slept with them, but you're trying to say that they gave it a negative image, and that's why it's a false light, or that could be considered false light. Such statements were not privilege and not opinions. When they punished them, T.I. and Tiny Anderson, I'm sorry, when they published them, T.I. and Tiny and Anderson knew the statements were false or had reckless disregard for their falsity and therefore acted with actual malice. So I guess they are denying the allegations. T.I. and Tiny Anderson publications of such false statements and defamatory statements did in fact directly and proximately result in harm to plaintiff Peterson's rights. Therefore, plaintiff Peterson is entitled to an award of exemplary or punitive damages in the amount to be established at trial to punish T.I. and Tiny and Anderson meaningfully, thereby deterring similar conduct in the future. Third cause of action, invasion of privacy, false light. So basically, this is just going to repeat everything that we've read. They're just giving it a different cause of action. There's really nothing new here. T.I. and Tiny Anderson made such representations with actual malice to harm and injure the plaintiff. This is a regurgitation of all the stuff that you've already said. Fourth cause of action, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. My guess is nothing that new is going to be said here. Let me just cut through some of this and we'll just skip to here. In committing wrongful acts alleged in this complaint, including but not limited to the allegations, defamation, invasion of privacy, infliction of emotional distress, T.I., Tiny, and Anderson have intentionally interfered with such prospective economic advantage, acted with the sole purpose of harming the plaintiffs. Peterson, thereby C, employing wrongful methods and affecting such interference, and D, interfering with such prospective economic advantage. As direct and proximate consequence said, interference and disruption, plaintiff Peterson lost in whole or in part said prospective economic advantages. As directed and proximate result, T.I. and Tiny and Anderson interfered with plaintiff person, prospective economic advantages. Plaintiff Peterson has been generally and specially and consequentially damaged in the amount to be established according to the evidence. And fourth cause of action, negligent interference with prospective economic advantage, which is going to be essentially the same as above, but there's going to be a twist to say even if you weren't trying to do it, you should have known that this effect would happen. You were negligent. So we're not even going to read this. We want to get to something new. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Nothing new here. We've already read this. Um, negligent of infliction of emotional distress is going to be the same thing. All right, so this is what she's asking for: compensatory, special, and general damages according to proof, punitive and exemplary damages. So yeah, so they're asking for money basically. Oh, for costs of suit, pre-judgment, post-judgment interest, and such other further relief that the court may deem necessary. All right, so let me just go ahead and break this down. Let me tell you what I think about this whole lawsuit. There are going to be pieces, and again, I'm not attacking the alleged victims. Uh, the Sabrina Peterson supporters are welcome here. T.I. and Tiny supporters are welcome here. Let's just all have an intelligent conversation about this. What I'm going to say is that I am not really seeing success on its face with this lawsuit. I think the lawsuit is pretty weak. I think the general problem with this lawsuit is that you put yourself out there as the spokesperson for a lot of these alleged victims. And because you put yourself out there as a spokesperson, you can't then cower behind the shadows or cower behind invasion of privacy and say that, oh, they're harassing me. That really doesn't fly. I think the harassment factor would only come into play if you didn't put yourself out there as a public person, and let's say you did have an Instagram account where you just posted general stuff, nothing about you or your family, and then they started harassing you on that account, and they're harassing you without any reason, then that would be harassment. But here you put yourself out there as a spokesperson. When you put yourself out there on the internet in general, you're opening yourself up for criticism about whatever you support. And of course, the supporters are going to come and support you as well. But you just can't take the good and cry when the bad comes, right? So generally, I think that's the problem with this lawsuit. She decided to be the spokesperson for a lot of these alleged victims. The other problem with the lawsuit is that she decided to put her personal affairs out there. She's saying that T.I. pulled a gun on her. Well, T.I. has a right to come out and deny those allegations. And me personally, I don't see anything here where T.I. has said something so negative that's going to be extreme and outrageous. That's really that's really going to be the standard for lawsuits like this, that the person is doing something extreme and outrageous, and I just don't see that, right? Tiny in one statement said that, well, first you call T.I. the uncle of your son, and now you're trying to say he pulled a gun on you. Which one is it? So on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with saying something like that. She has freedom of speech. She can say things like that. Now, to offer a balanced opinion, there are some things in this lawsuit that could be good, like the allegations against Shakina Jones. Again, if she did or did not have a relationship, if she did, get down and dirty with T.I. and Tiny, that's her business. And she has a right to her own privacy. Who you sleep with and what you do with the people you sleep with are your business. No one has a right to take that information and put it on the internet. And I think that's going to be a pretty solid claim for false light and invasion of privacy. But I think that claim is really only going to apply to Shakina, right? You guys let me know. Questions and comments below. Let me know what you think. Here's where I think she's going to excel in this lawsuit. Personally, I think everybody knows the playbook, right? You drag the person through social media, and then you get them in court, and then you basically sue that person in court. But this lawsuit, this defamation lawsuit, personally, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to try to put it on the back burner, and they're going to try to continue to get the allegations to come forward against T.I. and Tiny. And this will be one of those things that T.I. and Tiny can't defend themselves. I'm sorry. This will be one of those things that T.I. and Tiny can't defend themselves against, not because of what's actually in this particular defamation lawsuit, but because of the allegations surrounding the the allegations surrounding the abuse, the assaults. Because if he comes and he testifies for this lawsuit, they may try to ambush him and get them to talk about some of the victims. And once that happens, you've just testified against yourself. And once you testified against yourself, they can use that testimony against you in a criminal case, right? Case in point, Bill Cosby. People keep thinking that Bill Cosby testified to deliberately drugging women without their consent, and that's not what's happened. What's happened is that they tried to arrest Bill Cosby, and they realized at that time they didn't have any evidence for the arrest, so they tricked him. And I don't even know how that happened, but they tricked Bill Cosby into saying, hey, yeah, I keep Hennessy and I keep some weed, for the females that come over that want a party, right? And that's essentially what he said, right? What he actually said is that, I keep party drugs for women who want to come over and we intend to have sex, right? People, you have to realize that other people are out there and they're wilding out. They're getting drunk and having sex. They're doing drugs and having sex. And this is what some people like to do, right? So what Bill Cosby did at that time was perfectly legal. He was taking quaaludes, and he basically offered quaaludes to the women that he was going to have sex with. And basically he admitted that, I keep party drugs for women that come over with the intentions to have sex. That's the way I took it. Now, again, I do not condone violence against women. I don't condone drugging women. I don't condone tricking women, into sex. If that's what T.I. and Tiny did, if they were drugging women without their consent, if they were slipping Mickeys, that's what we call in Chicago, if they were slipping Mickeys in people's drinks, then yeah, they deserve to be put up under the jail. I don't, me personally, I'm just gonna come out and say I don't know what the hell happened, because I don't know T.I. and Tiny. I wasn't at those damn parties, so I don't know what went down. I hate to believe that they would do something like this, but if they did do this, they need to go down. So that's the beauty of Sabrina Peterson's lawsuit, is that T.I. and Tiny are now trapped. Because if they come out and they try to defend themselves against this lawsuit, they risk being asked questions about the allegations against them in terms of the assaults and abuse. And if they slip up the way Cosby slipped up, then they will find themselves in a criminal trial with evidence, with their own testimony being used against them. And I think even though it's a known play, I'm still going to say it's a brilliant play on Sabrina Peterson's part, because all she has to do now is keep this lawsuit alive and wait for more allegations to come out. One of the things I read is that the allegations against the alleged victims in Sabrina Peterson's videos and on her Instagram accounts are not the same alleged victims for the lawyer Tyrone from New York are bringing forward. So I think the next step is to get more and more people to come out. And I think Sabrina has a chance with this lawsuit because, like I said, all she has to do is keep it alive and wait for more allegations to come out. And I think there's a chance that T.I. and Tiny will be put in a situation where they'll just have to pay this out so they can turn around and focus on the allegations. Another case in point, R. Kelly. And we look at R. Kelly and we look at the Heather Williams lawsuit. R. Kelly couldn't really defend himself against Heather Williams, and Heather Williams ends up getting the default judgment because R. Kelly is in a situation where if he shows up to court and he testifies, then he risks that testimony being used against him in a criminal proceeding, right? And then look at Faith Rogers. Faith Rogers' lawsuit is still alive and kicking against R. Kelly. And I think what Faith is doing is basically, well, actually, the order is that they will wait until, actually, let me not lie here. I know the lawsuit went to the New York Supreme Court, which is kind of crazy to me. But that lawsuit is on hold, and I suspect that they're going to wait until the outcome of the R. Kelly trial. And then after that's done, they're going to continue on with the civil suit for Faith Rogers. I could see something similar happening here. Sabrina Peterson can either try to keep this lawsuit alive, and then once the criminal charges come out against T.I. and Tiny, she can push this lawsuit forward to try to get it paid out, or she can just hold it and wait until T.I. and Tiny wait and see if T.I. and Tiny is actually convicted, and then if they're actually convicted, then she can go ahead and press this forward. Either way, she can either press it when T.I. and Tiny are knee deep trying to defend themselves against the sex allegations, or she can sit back and wait and see if they actually can get convicted. And if they get convicted, she can push this lawsuit. Which strategy do you guys think is best? What do you think about this lawsuit in general? Questions and comments below. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This is like an hour long. I'm going to cut it short here. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.